Side note, guys, did you get your Marco Polo wrapped for 2025?
That's a thing.
I got an email that said I received 2,222 polos this year, and my most active group was, wait for it, records. Perhaps unsurprising. So
Yeah.
I didn't know that was Spotify is really, started to. I get a Wrapped for just like every.
Oh yeah, this is my favorite
Everything that I'm on.
podcast from my Spotify Wrapped.
Good.
I didn't get.
I thought you didn't listen to this podcast, Drew.
Oh, I do. I'm just behind. I love it. It's so behind. It's like brand news to me.
All right.
I
well,
also I got a note from Spotify as well. It says, "How come you have forsaken us?"
I can't believe you can't.
You said, "Let
begin
me
with."
Turn to
count
the dark
waves."
side. 100.
I'm Bert,
I'm Drew.
No, I'm Ron.
I'm Ryan.
and this is the 100 Albums Podcast, where we discuss the ins, the outs, and the absurdities of a poster that depicts 100 seemingly random albums. And here we are at album number 56, as we continue through the 100 albums that appear on this poster that Drew got a couple of years ago from his wife, Lisa. We first went through the entire poster, listened to each album, and then shared our thoughts and reactions with each other via video chat. Once we were all done, we thought it might be a fun project to turn into a podcast. And this week, we've got a special guest with us.
We do. I'm actually not only am I excited that this is a listener of the podcast, because that proves to people that someone might.
That we actually have listeners?
But I feel like an expert for today's knowledge. We have with us Andrew Stinson, who is not only an accomplished jazz bassist, but also has a master's in musicology and is one whip-smart disc golfer. And he's a member of a group, too, called the Rage Cops. So we're really excited to have him on the show with us tonight to talk about episode 56, which is...
This week, we're talking about Kind of Blue by Miles Davis. Welcome, Andrew. We're happy to have you with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Happy to be here.
So let's start with the vibe check, guys. Miles Davis, Kind of Blue. What are your first impressions?
Yeah, it's pretty good. You know, they did a pretty all right job on this one.
God damn it, Ryan, you took my vibe. Like, seriously, on the way to work, I was like, what's my vibe on this album? And you just spit it out like you stole it.
Funny.
Like it was a restaurant. I suspect you meant that ironically. I'm more serious about it. It's a good album, but I'm not well versed in jazz. And so for me, it was kind of like, all right, it sounds good. And then I did the research, and now I feel like a complete idiot about music.
I think it's a great album for not being well versed in jazz. I think it's like
It's a great intro.
it's a great all around. It's like the all around quote unquote jazz record. I think for me, I think everybody can enjoy almost all of it, if not all of it, or everybody should be able to just chill out and enjoy it. If not,
Yeah, for me, this was high school. I was like in ninth grade, I think, when our band director first played this for us, and we did Freddie Freeloader as a chart in like our junior high jazz band or whatever it was. And so this was like my first experience improvising and my first experience like playing what I would call legitimate jazz and not like a watered down kind of, for high school or middle school band or something. So this to me hits on a couple of levels. Initially as a youngin', but then also as I got older and kind of realized what's kind of going on, and it's not just 12-bar blues or whatever, you know what I mean? It's just I think this is a fantastic album for the beginner listener and for someone who's more advanced. Andrew, what about you?
Yeah, I'd say very accessible. There's a reason
I think that really plays into why this is generally usually the one jazz record, unfortunately, on like a top 100 of music, whether it's Rolling Stones or
you mean like this poster?
Rolling Stone. Yeah, just like this poster, the Rolling Stone, greatest albums of all time, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Definitely the music, the accessibility is a really interesting point too, when it comes to I think jazz musicians' views of this album. We can get into that later. Not to say that they dislike it, but I think that maybe it's kind of tiring at a certain point, especially when you kind of compare it to the rest of jazz music. But I absolutely love this. This was one of the first straight ahead jazz records that got me into the art form. I was into more electric jazz before that in high school, and then I heard this Coltrane's Giant Steps and Miles's Sketches of Spain, and then I was just off to the races at that point. So.
Glad you brought that up early, Andrew, about other opinions of this. I'm saving it because we have a section for that, Bert, and you get upset when we jump the gun. But I can already tell that Andrew and I are going to be on the same camp come to the end of this episode.
Well, if you guys just want to take it and run with it.
No. There's a process.
That's right. There is a process. So, hey, let's talk a little bit about the Miles Davis background here. He was born on May 26, 1926 in Alton, Illinois, raised in East St. Louis. He came from a middle-class family. His dad was a dentist. His mom was a music teacher and a violinist. In 1935, Miles Davis received his first trumpet as a gift from John Eubanks, a friend of his father's. He took weekly trumpet lessons from the, quote, biggest influence in my life, in his words, Elwood Buchanan. He was a teacher and a musician who was a patient of his father's, the dentist. Against the fashion of the time, Buchanan stressed the importance of playing without vibrato, encouraged Miles to use a clear mid-range tone. Miles Davis said, quote, I prefer a sound with no attitude in it, like a round voice with not too much tremolo and not too much bass, just right in the middle. In his autobiography, Davis talks about by the time he was 12, quote, music had become the most important thing in my life. On his 13th birthday, his father bought him a new trumpet, and he began to play in local bands. He took additional trumpet lessons from Joseph Gustat, principal trumpeter of the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra. In 1941, the then 15-year-old Miles Davis attended East St. Louis High School, Lincoln High School, where he joined the marching band directed by Elwood Buchanan. Miles Davis filled a vacant spot in the Rumboogie Orchestra, also known as the Blue Devils, led by Eddie Randall. He became the band's musical director, which involved hiring musicians and scheduling rehearsals at 15 years old. Years later, Miles Davis considered this job one of the most important in his career. Sonny Stitt tried to persuade Miles to join the tiny Bradshaw Band, which was passing through town, but his mother insisted he finish high school before going out on tour. In January 1944, Miles Davis finished high school, graduated in absentia in June. He didn't attend graduation ceremonies. In July of that year, Billy Eckstein visited St. Louis with a band that included Art Blakey, Dizzy Gillespie, and Charlie Parker. Trumpeter Buddy Anderson was too sick to perform, so Miles was invited to join. He played with the band for 2 weeks at Club Riviera. After playing with these musicians, he was certain that he should move to New York City. So I'm going to blow through some of this because there's a lot. I mean, there's, his autobiography as well as other biographies. So folks, please go out if you're interested in some of the deep dive. There's some great, I'll put some references in the show notes, but I'm just going to blow through kind of early career, rise to fame, and that kind of thing. So in the 1940s and 50s, he played with Charlie Parker in New York City, a major figure in bebop jazz. He became known, Miles Davis became known for a cooler, more restrained trumpet sound. He helped develop cool jazz, especially through the birth of the Cool Sessions. He built a reputation as a band leader who discovered and mentored young talent. In the 1950s, Miles formed several influential bands, his quintets, his nonet. The musicians who he played with included John Coltrane, Cannonball Adderley, Bill Evans, Herbie Hancock, Wayne Shorter, and many, many more. He was known for constantly changing styles rather than sticking to one particular sound. In the late 60s and 70s, Miles Davis pioneered jazz fusion, albums like Bitches Brew, blended jazz with rock, funk, and electric instruments. He continued reinventing his sound into the 1980s. In terms of his personality, he was known for being intense. I mean, cocaine, heroin, things like that could lead to an intense personality. Demanding, sometimes difficult. He valued originality and pushed musicians to find their own voices. He helped shape nearly every major jazz style after World War II. And he died in 1991 on September 28th, and he was remembered as one of the most influential musicians of the 20th century, a leader who constantly changed the direction of jazz. He was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2006. He was nominated for a whopping 32 Grammy Awards. He won 8 of them. And his discography consists of at least 60 studio albums, 39 live albums, as well as 46 compilation albums, 27 box sets, 4 soundtrack albums, 57 singles, and 3 remix albums.
Lazy.
I know, right? So let's talk about Kind of Blue, this album. Released on August 17th, 1959 by Columbia Records, Davis led a sextet featuring saxophonists John Coltrane and Julian Cannonball Adderley, pianists Bill Evans and Wynton Kelly, the latter on Freddie Freeloader, bassist Paul Chambers, and drummer Jimmy Cobb. The album was recorded on 3-track tape in 2 sessions at Columbia's 30th Street studio in New York City, in 2 sessions on March 2nd and April 22nd, 1959. On March 2nd, the tracks So What, Freddie Freeloader, and Blue and Green were recorded for side 1 of the original LP. And on April 22nd, the tracks All Blues and Flamenco Sketches were recorded, making up side 2. The group had almost no rehearsal. The musicians had little idea what they were to record. The original liner notes that were written by pianist Bill Evans mentioned that Davis had only given the band vague outlines of scales and melody lines on which they were to improvise. Once in the studio, Davis gave instructions for each piece and then set to recording the sextet. The legend that the entire album was recorded in 1 take is untrue. Only Flamenco Sketches yielded a complete take on the first try. Kind of Blue is based on modality, diverging from Davis's earlier hard bop style of jazz. And I figured this would be a good place to pause and have a couple of you guys who are more versed in music theory kind of go into what that means. What does it mean to be based in modality?
Can we step back for a minute? You said
No.
that the first take thing was a myth, huh?
Yeah,
Is
that's what I found. Yeah.
Interesting.
I'd always heard it was a myth, or it was a 1 take thing too. Yeah.
On the 50th anniversary edition, they have all the studio chatter and everything like that. So a number of the takes were just a result of them maybe starting something for a few bars, and then Miles doesn't like it. He cuts the band off. Or maybe some sequences, try to add the ending. He would do that a lot more later, using the studio as another instrument in his electric period in the 70s. But you get a little bit of that with Kind of Blue. But yeah, really, I guess the only one that has 2 complete takes is Flamenco Sketches. All the other ones are just 1 full take. So they might have had some starts and stops, but it more or less is like 1 take, which I really dig.
You can feel that. That's what I love about the record. You can just feel like it's a session. It's not overly guided. It's not overly, and I got more to say on it later in different aspects of it. But man, it's so fun to listen to this as a musician, as an active musician. I've dabbled in a couple of these tunes with my band, without the full group that he had, and it's hard, but it's just, they're so playable, and it's not hard to believe that they railed this out in 1 take after a couple, like, no, I don't like it, this here's the vibe, let's set the vibe, whatever. Anyway,
they changed it up for this session. So the 30th Street studio, Columbia there, they had all the baffles so that you could separate the sound so there would be no bleed between mics. And on this session, Miles did not want that. So they're like, well, there's going to be bleed between, sounds on different mics. He's like, that's fine. Who cares? Which gave them an actual experience of playing like they would live, like a combo would. And so the recording, they're all able to communicate with each other and bounce back and forth so much more naturally than I think a lot of the recording processes were done at the time.
Yeah, I mean, in So What, for a perfect example of that, you can hear it when they come back in with the backups at the end. I don't know who's the last. Maybe it's Trey. That's the last solo. I can't remember, but when they come in, you can just hear it kind of get going organically, and it's just awesome, man. I love that aspect of this whole recording, top to bottom.
Okay, I'm familiar with charts. I'm familiar with, okay, here's your part. Go in, play that shit. So let me get this straight. Holmes walked in and was like, here's some scales.
No, they had charts per se. I mean, they weren't formalized or handwritten, I'm sure.
Right.
And he passed
it was
out.
pretty much like, here's an idea, go.
Yeah, I mean, that was pretty common to sight read, I think, too. Andrew, you had something there.
Yeah, there's one in particular, which, getting ahead of myself, my favorite one is Flamenco Sketches. There's no chart for that. And there's actually a photo of Cannonball Adderley's music stand in the session. It's got a lot of things on it, but for Flamenco Sketches, he just has written out the 5 scales that is. So for that one, there's absolutely no chart that they're reading off of. I imagine that for something like So What, there's no chart for that. And they're just they were probably just figuring out that intro at the very beginning.
Riffing, yeah.
Blue and Green, that was something that already existed by Bill Evans, which we'll probably get into later as well. With and then of course you have the 2 blues, which it's just a matter of on all blues. The interesting part is the feel of it, and but you've got the form for that, so it's really just kind of telling everyone what the solo is and how to harmonize it.
So is the bass expert? Sorry, Ron. I'll ask this question in a minute. What were you going to say, Ron?
Well, that makes a lot more sense, but reading the history, that's what made me feel stupid, was the way they describe it. It's like he just went in and was like, okay, here's like 3 so-called, not rules, but just guidelines. Here's the scales, here's, whatever, poof, make it. And it didn't make sense. And that's what really kind of made me feel ridiculous, because it didn't make sense to me at all. But I'm not an idiot when it comes to music either.
You've got a couple of things working in their favor here. One, they all knew each other and played together. They also were all like ridiculously good musicians. So
Understood.
You can't do that with everybody. You can, you just won't sound like this. But I mean, like, even my trio, which was nowhere near as talented as this group, that's what we did. We had sketches of ideas, and we kind of explained to each other what we wanted to do, and then we just made stuff happen, right?
Okay.
So improvisers, we're cool with that.
I thought about the EIO a lot. Not a lot. I thought about it particularly at one spot when I was reading some things, Ryan. And I can't remember which tune. It was, my note taking has been sketchy this week, but his instructions were literally to take this. They had to play. Oh, it must have been flamenco. Probably they had to play each of the 5 scales to their own device, however long they wanted to do, whatever style of performance they wanted to. The only instruction was you move on to the next once you're done with the previous scale, which is a lot like Ryan when I got to see his band play. And when you shared your charts with me, it was awesome. It was such a unique way to write out a musical idea, and it was very much the same thing. Here's the beginning, here's the end. We'll see you here at your time when you arrive there.
Bert, you asked about modality earlier. So I think the simplest way to describe that to a non-musician, I think everyone in their head at least kind of knows what a piano keyboard looks like, right? So if you can imagine a scale where you just pick one note on the keyboard, right? And then you go up to the next one and change no notes. So maybe you plunked your finger down on the note E, and then you go up to E and come back down again. Now it's not a traditional major or minor scale. It's a kind of scale. And actually, there's a whole history of modes. I don't think this is the podcast for that. We don't have time.
It'd be a long mini.
It would be, yeah. I mean, especially with the musicologist on the podcast, I think we could get way too deep on the history of modes. But as it applies to modal jazz, I think the theory of it is a collection of notes that is a scale that isn't major or minor. In short, Andrew, does that sound about right?
Yeah, I think that the important thing to like really get across with how revolutionary this approach was, is that for the most part leading up to that point, you have really complex chord changes and a lot of chord changes. There's just you have a lot of abilities to connect the dots in different ways in terms of what your solo is going to be. And what Miles is doing on this record is he is taking away all those dots, and on something like So What, he's giving you 2 dots.
Yeah.
Or Flamenco Sketches, he's giving you 5 dots. And so someone like Cannonball Adderley, who's really into, he's really from that Charlie Parker school, and he's bringing a lot of soul and blues into it as well. But he's really from that bop school. Hearing him solo, like not have these restraints, or someone like Coltrane, like who actually propels him like further into his artistry in the next decade, taking away all those, like the way that you can piece everything together with all those chords, and just it puts more onus on the soloist to be unique and make something that matters and reaches the audience.
That's a great. I love that description.
Yeah, it's really good. Thank you.
And you can hear that, man. A lot of my notes on Cannonball, who shines on this album. I mean, they all do.
Yeah.
But
it's a weird album for him to be on. If I'm
and he's you can hear Miles just sitting on these notes and reaching these notes and sitting on the 9 and doing these things. You can hear Coltrane developing his statement 10 times, 12 times, and taking it further and further. And then you got Cannonball just doing the kind of outlining more of the chords and the triads and going for those arpeggios and some scales and things. And it's all just perfect, and it's all just great what they're doing. But
even some, for someone who I think is much more quarterly based, Bill does pretty good too, of letting himself go,
It's so interesting to listen to him on this album too. You're right, man.
I mean, and I know we'll jump the gun and talk about Blue and Green in depth as being something for Bill, but like if you listen to his solo things, he plays the head, and then he takes it in half and plays it, and then he plays it a second time, and it's halved again. I mean, which those changes are pretty weird, and the band just follows along somehow. I mean, I think the last one kind of gets Paul Chambers off guard a little bit, but that's kind of part of the charm.
Yeah, I was gonna say it makes it.
I feel like he's, and he's a piano guy, but I mean, you can hear him thinking through every freaking 10 notes of his fingers on the chords he's playing always. I mean, that's the thing about Bill Evans, but you can certainly hear that it's not him playing Freddie Freeloader too.
Yeah.
And at this point too, it was like Bill was out of the band. Like he was in the band for I think like May or so to November in '58, and then he left. And then a few months later, March comes around, and Miles was like, "Hey, I want you to be on the session." There's actually a funny story that like Wynton Kelly shows up to the first session, and he doesn't know that Bill's going to be there. Yeah, and he's like, "What the hell, man?" Well, and so they actually do Freddie Freeloader first, probably to appease him and just let him know.
That's exactly what I read, Andrew.
That hurts, man.
He was
like
trying not to hurt feelings,
Yeah.
Well, he took a cab to get there and stuff. But and that actually cracks me up because like if they hadn't done that too, though, there's this I always think about this with like movies and stuff. There's the one guy that doesn't even get like the bit part, and you're like, oh, there was like 9 guys that probably tried out for that one line, and it'd be so salty to have not been, like I showed up and I'm not even on this record,
right?
A few moments later.
I think the blues are some of the hardest forms to solo over without sounding like you're just running up and down the blues scale, which is why the 2 blues charts on this album are so striking. I mean, not once do I even hear them, dabbling in any runs from the blues scale. And it's so, and Ryan, I just was referencing that masterclass. We may have been at the same one or 2 different ones, but I remember a person saying, okay, you're only going to use 1 note for this. You can only use 1 note. You're working on your rhythms. You're working on your approaches, whatever. And I was talking to high school kids at my school about soloing on the blues, actually, and their teacher was asking me, you know, do we have any pointers? And I said, you know, strip it back. I don't know. Stop playing the scale stuff. And I quoted that. I'm like, try just using one note sometime. Try using two notes.
Try not playing.
Space.
A lot of people are very afraid of space, especially but
and I feel like this album just allows that all to happen.
Yeah.
So Bert, you mentioned Birth of the Cool earlier, and I think that's a really important segue to this. I don't think because and that's really kind of that Jerry Mulligan thing, right? Now they leave and go off to the coast, and then you have that whole vibe, which is very cool in its own. But I think it's interesting with Miles being in on that session. I think had he not been introduced to those cats, I really don't think we would have gotten here, or at least as fast, because it's such a different approach to what was happening in the scene. You know, if he would have been playing sessions with Dizzy, you know, that wouldn't make a lot of sense, I guess. But you get my point.
I feel like Miles already had designs to reach that point sooner than later, because he was like, him going to Juilliard was really an excuse for him to move to New York City and find Charlie Parker and play with him. Which he says, and then he's like, but the one thing I did do at Juilliard, like when I did go to classes, I would study scores, because that's a great resource to have when you're at a university. But I think too, like what he gets from the Birth of the Cool sessions is like, sure, Jerry Mulligan like moves away, but he also is introduced to Gil Evans, which gives him an amazing partnership. Porgy and Bess, Sketches of Spain, just incredible stuff. So like, and like really by the time you get to like 58, he's ready to like just do away with all those chords. And like he's talking in a jazz review magazine, just saying like, hey, there's going to be a time sooner than later where like I'm just going to get rid of all these chords and the possibilities are going to be endless because I'm really tired of playing all this. But yeah, to your point, Ryan, like him playing with that non-et, playing with that Birth of the Cool group probably did. I mean, you could argue it did, but you know, there's like a 6 year gap in there between that and when he starts doing Porgy and Bess with Gil Evans. So,
well, I'll tell you, with all these cats, there's a lot of interplay, right, throughout their histories. Book recommendation for listeners, or just for you guys, since our only listeners here with us today. But this is 3 Shades of Blue, Miles Davis, John Coltrane, Bill Evans, and the Lost Empire of Cool. And it goes into all 3 artists in a great way, and when they intersect with each other and how that, you know, it's a fantastic read. If this album, if you've listened to it for the first time, you want to do some reading, it's got 3 of the cats on it. So you get it all in one book, you know, if you're feeling thrifty.
Could I ask you, Ryan and Andrew, to pontificate for a minute, or not pontificate, but to I'm not going to search for a word. Everything in music is a reaction to something else in a matter of speaking. So we're here in this world of modes, stripping back the chords. You guys are saying we need to talk about, I think, what came before. We're in the world of bebop, which is a totally different frame of mind to play jazz music, and we've touched on it. So I don't know, speak more to that world and why it contrasts so much to this one, if you would.
Yeah, I think one of the things that attracts me so much to jazz music is that its history is, for the most part, recorded. And so a lot of the musicians are listening to those records, and there's an ability for them to revolutionize and create new things a lot sooner than you have all the decades, you know, and years, prior to that, when it comes to any classical, romantic music, anything like that. And so from going to like the 20s, pretty simple, like even before then, teens, 20s, pretty simple Dixieland style music, as people would call it today. You get to the 30s, you get more swing. So the music's becoming more popular. It is the pop music of the day. But then there's also this undercurrent during the 30s, artists like Art Tatum and Coleman Hawkins, who are bringing in more classical harmonies, romantic harmonies. The music, you know, they never said this, but it's like the music is really simple. Like, let's make this more interesting. I want to have more fun with it, or I just want it to sound nicer, right? And so they're introducing those things. Someone like Charlie Parker comes around, who has the vision to take that to another level, to the melodic level, and take it to an even more complicated harmonic level. So you're taking these really simple tunes, and then you're adding a lot more color to them, I'll say. And the music is also getting a lot faster at that point. So it's becoming more virtuosic. It's alienating more listeners because you have to really be into that thing, into that vibe, or you have to be a musician to like get it. It's not something that you can dance to. And so that's happening in the 40s. You have swing and bebop kind of against each other, more or less. And then by the time we get to 49, that's when we have, and this is one of the reasons why Miles Davis is one of my favorite artists. He has the ability over his lifetime to see where, maybe in some regards where the music is going, in other regards, knowing what he needs to do to make his own music still current, and not sound like it's from a decade prior. And so his attempt to, his style of trumpet playing didn't really lend itself well to bebop and Charlie Parker, and he admitted that. He wasn't the virtuosic trumpet player that Dizzy Gillespie was, that Clifford Brown or Fats Navarro were. But he has a really good vision for what a band should sound like and how music can be more interesting and bring more people in. Those Birth of the Cool sessions, you can argue that those are an attempt to bring more people, like more of an audience in, but also more musicians. There's a freaking tuba on Birth of the Cool. I think
French horn too.
Yeah. There's French horn too on it as well. So it's like, let's expand the palette of this.
Not a French horn.
Yeah. And then he's getting into the 50s. He has drug issues. He comes back in 55, clean and sober. And then his quintet, that for the most part is on the sextet record, except Red Garland was the piano player, but Coltrane was the other horn player. But they really became the standard for how you play all of these jazz standards. So like the hundreds and hundreds of tunes that we have to know from as jazz musicians, like dozens of tunes, that quintet kind of dictated how you should play them. But Miles is doing this over time on Milestones, the record that comes out the year before this. The Milestone track on that. It's an up-tempo bop sounding track, and So What, it has 2 chords on it. But that's his attempt to start to do those things. I think in the winter of 58, or maybe it was 57, but he was in France for a little bit, and he did a soundtrack at that point. So he's also bringing in more romantic and more romantic harmonizations and things like that. But yeah, just to what you're asking, Drew, this is a complete break. And they ended up calling it the third stream of music. Gunther Schuller did at a certain point, which is that you have classical music, the classical repertoire, you have jazz, and they're starting to combine to make this third stream, which is combining elements of them, but completely different from what Charlie Parker's doing. But it still borrows elements of that in a sense.
And I think that was an awesome summary, by the way, Andrew.
I didn't know it was going to be that good, man. I'm glad.
But I would say one of the things that makes this vehicle happen is the recording industry.
Yeah.
Because, you look at a similar cycle of how classical music evolves over time, and jazz music evolves so much faster because of the ability to listen and repeated listen and share the sounds from around the world. And so we're able to enjoy that in a faster timeline to get to where we are now. So with Miles kind of being able to live through, it'd be like living through several classical periods, which is wild to me.
Yeah. I mean, his span, it's remarkable.
Well, your mention of the recording industry, Ryan, is a good segue. If I can make a segue. Kind of Blue, this album is widely considered one of the greatest jazz albums of all time. It is one of the best-selling albums in jazz history. So there's a little bit of debate here about what is the best-selling jazz album. So this album, well, we'll get to Miles's catalog here in just a second, but "Come Away with Me" by Norah Jones has sold over 27 million copies, though often categorized in pop, folk, or blues. Billboard magazine named Norah Jones the top jazz artist of the 2000s. So there are some people who say
he's going to be outdone by Leve next month, man.
So I am not suggesting that is correct. I'm reporting what I found in my research. For the record,
I will take that album down by all the albums that broke the charts on this year, 1959.
Yeah,
because you have Kinda Blue, you've got
Lady in Satin, Billie Holiday's record.
Yeah.
Mingus
You've got Shape of Jazz to Come.
Yeah.
I mean,
actually,
don't you also have Time Out too?
Yeah, Time Out was this year too. Yeah.
Eat it, Nora.
So top 5 Miles Davis records. The Miles Davis Story, 1991, sold 100,000 copies. Tutu from 1986 sold 112,000, almost 113,000 copies. Sketches of Spain from this year, 1959, sold 1.1 milli. Bitches Brew from 1970 sold also just over 1.1 million, and then Kind of Blue knocks them all out of the park at almost 6.5 million records. It is his best-selling record and arguably the best-selling jazz album of all time. For the record, if you take Norah Jones out of the equation, Charlie Brown Christmas by the Vince Guaraldi Trio sold 5 million copies, and the Cologne Concert by Keith Jarrett has sold about 4 million copies. So, where does this album fit into kind of the charts? So Miles Davis has 5 number 1 charting albums on the Billboard Jazz charts. Everything's Beautiful, Miles at the Fillmore, Miles Davis and John Coltrane Final Tour, Rubber Band, and the Essential Miles Davis. Kind of Blue came in at number 2. It peaked at number 2 on that chart, which kind of surprised me given its popularity. And its peak was in 2021. So someone explain that. But it is, everybody's listening in COVID, right? So that's kind of the charts and the sales. The other thing that I'll mention just really quickly is I was kind of surprised. Like Birth of the Cool is like an essential album for me, and like in Miles' discography, I think it's a seminal kind of album. It came in at number 6 in terms of his sales overall, and it's only sold 75,000 copies. I say only as if any of us have sold that many records, but I was kind of surprised by that. I thought that would have been higher on the list, more popular in that way. So, Okay, we are going to be hearing from this week's sponsor.
Yeah, which
Ryan, I think you have some details about that.
Yeah, so it's actually repeat sponsor. Always appreciate the folks that have felt the dramatic increase of their business from this podcast. And they're a very lovable group. You guys know them. This is the Quarterly Lost Records. And not unlike them, they don't quite get it right to get the revenue stream going. So this one, I think they had hoped to get it to us sooner. But that's just sometimes how it goes. So, Bert, I think you've got the audio there. Quarterly Lost Records is proud to announce their most daring album yet, and almost in time for Christmas. The Black Christmas Carols, featuring music inspired by the piano jury scene from the 1974 film Black Christmas. Featuring hits like I'm Quitting the Conservatory and We're Getting Married, And who could forget Mrs. Mac hides a bottle of liquor? And of course the single that everyone's talking about, Jess, I Want Us to Have a Baby. Sure, we can call you on the phone to remind you.
Hello? Who is this?
But you won't want to wait to get this album playing from inside your house. The Black Christmas Carols, available on standard black vinyl or limited edition suffocating in cellophane clear vinyl. Buy yours exclusively from Quarter Loss Records. Some bangers on there.
Speaking of reactionary music.
I think it's absolutely great that they're thinking so far ahead, given that today is January 13th.
I know. Well, they meant to
And
get it
they're
in.
getting ready for Christmas already.
I think this is part of the reason that a lot of their records they're just behind the curve,
Not quite catching.
They'll sell at least 75,000 of that, though, right?
Oh, yeah.
At least.
Fans of that movie
Look out, Birth of the Cool.
would really, I think, get down with that at Christmas time. That's all I'm saying.
You would think. You would hope.
Yeah.
I will have to add it to my collection. I love that movie. The original slasher film, the phone call, it's got it all. You got, what's it, Kidder? Margot Kidder, right?
Margot Kidder.
So.
All right. Well, thank you to Quarterly Lost Records. We appreciate. That's right. We appreciate the generous sponsorship. Okay, guys, it's time for the good, the bad, and the ugly on the re-listen of Kind of Blue by Miles Davis. What is striking you about this album? What is good? What is bad? And is there any ugly?
I didn't have any.
I want to highlight the importance of the bass player. And since we have Andrew here with us today, Paul Chambers, so what? When we come in and out of swinging, it's all on him, and all of a sudden you're just swinging again, and it's usually after the 8-bar go switch the E flat minor there and comes back in, but. Man, it's all in control of the bass player. It's so awesome.
Well,
How does that feel to be driving the ship like that, man?
Pretty cool. Luckily, no one calls that tune a bunch. I remember the last time someone called that, I hadn't played it in a long time, so I.
Well, just in general, to be in control of the swing like that, man.
Yeah. It's a really interesting way to start an album, giving the bass the melody. And the horns and the piano just being the call in response to that.
It is a daring start.
Yeah, that's not even what I was referencing, but that's also a question I had to comment on is giving the bass player that little tune. Man, I don't know. I think it may be daring, but I think it's great. I think it's effective and awesome.
On flamenco sketches. The bass part on that one, it doesn't move, but like just a little bit, right?
Yeah, all he's doing is
It's
playing
pretty
the
much the
fifth and
same
the
thing
root. Yeah, he's just playing the fifth and the root of each chord, of each
for
scale.
like the whole song.
That allows
all he's doing.
Ron, that allows the modes to take over.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
I was just making sure because I was listening on the way home, and that's the only part of the song I remember is just I focused and latched onto that, and I was like, "This guy ain't moving," but everyone else is. But I locked into that. So I thought it
Related
was
to that
pretty
too. That track is actually based on Bill Evans's tune Peace, 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 Piece. And then that's actually also inspired from him covering the Leonard Bernstein song "Some Other Time."
Mm-hmm.
Like that exact dun dun.
I'm so glad you
that
brought
movement.
this up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had heard that story of Bill went in to record that tune and he got stuck on those two chords and ended up creating Peace that day. But I mean, I don't know. I asked Siri this afternoon. I'm like, when did Bill record Peace? Because I've always thought that about Flamenco sketches. It's like, and he does get some writing credit on it for this, but I've always
and it was
like
just the year prior. Yeah,
Dude,
everybody digs Bill Evans. So.
Was it really the year before this?
Yep.
Okay, well then
58.
that makes even more sense. Then I got bad info from Siri. So
yeah. Hey, and if y'all want a good cry, go listen to Bill Evans and Tony Bennett play Some Other Time.
Where has the time all gone to? Haven't done half the things we
Mm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Peace, diverting from Miles Davis. One of my wife's favorite tracks by Bill Evans. She could not listen to that song enough. And it is very peaceful, as it turns out.
It's
Lives
weird,
up to its name.
Yeah. It's to me a weird album for Bill Evans in some ways. I don't want to say he didn't know where to put himself in some places, but like it could have been a keyboardless album with the exception of a couple of tracks, and I think it would have still been good. I'm a huge Bill Evans fan. Disclosure before the hate mail comes in. But really, I think like he and Cannonball seem the most out of their element. If I'm going to be nitpicky on the record, that's just my opinion. I think you're right. Chambers is definitely the unsung hero of the session, but Jimmy Cobb, he's pretty on it, man. Because
that's where I was going to go next. Yeah,
there's a lot to what he's doing there that's pretty damn interesting. I would love to have the isolated cut, regardless of mic bleed of his contribution.
I was re-listening to it today, and I forgot how seamless it is that he goes from brushes on all blues, right to sticks on the solos. It's like.
When he comes in again on So What though, even like I said, when the bass comes in, all of a sudden dropping the walk, but also he comes in all of a sudden hitting his rim. You know what I mean? Like, man, you're right, Ryan. I mean, it's just everybody's on full tilt here, like, but yet with so much restraint, and it's wonderful to see. And I think that's where I hear the same thing with Bill. I hear a little discomfort in a lot of these things, especially on the blues songs, because it's just not his thing. And I feel like, not that he plays anything wrong or anything that sounds like he's out of sorts, but it feels when you're really scrutinizing his playing, it feels like it's just not necessarily his element. I do love though the trill in the background of All Blues though. That's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool, and again, restraint, for a piano player to just sit there and go forever. It's probably as hard as a drummer to just do the ride for 10 minutes, and the bass player to stay on 1 and 5. I mean, we're talking about beauty out of restraint here, the whole album through and through. It's pretty cool.
I know Ryan was going for some nitpickiness. I don't really have any nits to pick. I think this is just a fantastic album. I love the opening. I think So What is a great starter track for the album. Just the whole vibe is just great, because you can do an active listen and really dig into what each of the players are doing, and kind of to Drew's, use Drew's words, the artistry that's being created, the paintings that the imagery they're painting. Or you can do a passive listen, have it on the background. It's just great, if you're studying or if you're reading or whatever. It's not something that it's in your face and it's distracting and that kind of thing. So it's just kind of a good all-purpose vibe for the album. So
I'm sure it contributed to its sales.
I would bet that's part of the allure, is that, I mean, and to what we were kind of talking about earlier at the top of the episode, is that it's so accessible. I think, Andrew, you had said it's accessible, right? This is something that it's not going to challenge listeners in terms of...
Which is what they want.
Well, and yeah, I mean, we've talked about that before on the pod too. It's like, people want to be kind of spoon-fed things, whether it's pop music or rock music or whatever. And for those who can do the active listen and really get into seeing and hearing some of the things that they're doing, it's there. But if you're not going to do that, it's, this is just laid back and kind of mellow or whatever, right? So it can kind of go both ways. And yeah, Ryan, I think that's part of the success of the album, is that accessibility. Yeah.
Well, and for better or for worse, you're kind of forcing me into my hot take here a little bit, which is about that accessibility. I think there's a kind of polarity to this album in my head, because on the one hand, the creation of this album expanded the boundaries of what jazz could be, blew down some walls. The legacy that it has left, I feel, has created massive boundaries into the world of jazz, because of that accessibility factor. It's almost like if you say to someone, hey, what's jazz sound like? They're thinking of this. They've got some guy with a beret and a goatee, and goddamn if there isn't a freaking trumpet with the harmon mute. And that's what they think. That's jazz. And it has to be accessible, that the musicians should not be able to interfere with any other part of your experience. Right? Hey, I want to go to a jazz club. What kind of jazz club? The kind where we're still talking the whole time and I can get food, right? It's not.
But there's this great scene. It's
right.
The vibe.
But I mean, and that's I'm not knocking the purpose of that. I mean, Eric Satie did that with classical music too. But I feel like it limits the expression and the venues and the possibilities of all the scope of jazz, stuff that came before this, all the stuff that came after this. This is a very narrow window.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the popularity and accessibility of this album, I feel like, paints jazz into a very narrow field.
It's the same story, man. It's the same story every time. The simple stuff that the masses like.
But it's not simple.
Yeah,
but
I agree. That's the thing. Well, because maybe that's because we know like a little bit more about this subject than others we've talked about.
But that I would say too, Ryan. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. But I would also say, if somebody said, "What is rock music?" Right? There's going to be, it's Bruce Springsteen. It's this person who's wearing torn jeans and playing a guitar. Like so. There, I think you can.
Well, I was going to say Tom Petty.
I was going to say Poison.
But even to this poster, secret of the poster.
Yeah,
we could have had any number of great jazz albums.
Yes, we could have had more than one.
Let's pretend that the poster was ticking off subjects, which has been a theory. I mean, 100 different ones is a lot, but they don't. They grabbed a few of some of them, and they went to jazz, and they picked this because of that factor. I mean, that's the thing about this album, and I'm sure it's to the great disdain of many jazz players alike. Andrew said that one of the first things you said. I think that there's some negativity here.
Oh yeah, trust me when I tell you that when I was doing my research for the rundown, that I found a lot of articles that are like, yeah, Miles Davis sucks. He's not a good trumpet player. He's not good. And there's a lot of people who have strong feelings about what his contribution to music and to jazz is and was. But yeah, it's 100.
Everybody's got an opinion.
Everybody's got an opinion, yeah, including the five of us, right?
Yeah, Andrew, what was your take on that?
Yeah,
I mean, well, for like people who say that, like I know people that don't like Miles's playing and anything like that, and I always think like you wish that you sounded like that. Like no one sounds like that. Like that is, it doesn't sound brassy. A lot of the times it's just very pure. And like, I think any musician, like maybe like David Gilmour on guitar, like just kind of transcending, like that is a singular sound that no one else gets out of that instrument. And
you hooked Drew right with that. Mm-hmm. You were like,
I tried not to show it.
Well, all right. So
no, you're totally right. Like it's one thing to say like that's become a cliche, but not to acknowledge the creator of that cliche in this world of finite amount of people. That's pretty crazy. Sorry, Ron, go on.
Oh, no, I was going to say, as far as his tone and everything, he has a very atypical posture when it comes to playing. How he physically plays lend to his tone?
Well, I'm not sure if they developed at the same time or not. I will tell you, as a brass player, when you cut down the torso like that,
mm-hmm.
you're also making it so that you have less capacity.
Air. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You can overcome it, right? But it does change the sound. And I'm wondering if he was doing that intentionally, because a lot of the players at this time were going for that big fat sound, mm-hmm. which is not what he was after at all, right? You're not going to hear Clark Terry and go, "Hey, was that Miles Davis?"
Or Dizzy Gillespie, yeah.
They're very different schools.
Yeah.
So it could be that. I would certainly not say it's a matter of shyness that he played that in that position.
Yeah, he didn't seem shy.
Other good, bad, ugly?
I have a good. I guess two goods. Like one good is that I think this is a really good representation of how a jazz record can show you how unique and how singular different voices are on that record, and that not everyone just sounds the same. Like they're not all playing the same music. They all have they're all telling different stories. Like every single track that you listen to, just back to back to back soloist has a completely different approach in sound. And I absolutely love that about it. Another thing that I really like about this, and we were talking about this earlier, but like the album, like it was thought of as a more thoughtful approach to the LP. So like the album having a vibe and having like a specific sound and like tempos to the tracks and everything like that was intentional, because they were wanting to get away from, like, if you look at any of the Blue Note records from that time, like a really big jazz label from that era, you're going to have an up-tempo piece, you're going to have a ballad, a blues, one or two standards, and a bop original. All on down the line for like all of them. Like maybe you take a couple of them out. But like this record, it's like Like you have two blues and one of them does not sound like a blues. Like some of them would say that you have a ballad that has really interesting harmonies and harmonic progression to it. You have the opening track that we talked about earlier, where you have the call and response between the bass melody and then the rest of the band, and how it's just introducing the listener to like, hey, two chords, that's all they get, that's all you get, just sit back, relax. And then that bookends the album with flamenco sketches, where you have no melody at all, and again, just back-to-back soloist, like ballad tempo, completely different approaches to each solo. So I think another good thing about it, like for me, is just how unique it is among jazz records at that time. It might have done some harm in kind of boxing in jazz. Like I was looking at the Spotify list for Miles earlier, and or like I have it right now, like his top 10, all of Kind of Blues in the top 10, and then a bunch of his other ballads. So listeners have this idea of what Miles Davis sounds like, even though he quickly left this. He did. A month later, basically. Yeah. So,
I read a quote by someone asking him to revisit it, and he refused. He said, "It hurts my lips." Hey, I just picked up. We actually don't own this on vinyl, but about 3 months ago, I picked up Water Babies up at a record shop we were in Buffalo. That's a really cool record too. That's a cool one. But I think that's the thing about him. Like he never ever stopped moving, and just shapes so much underneath it. But I gotta say, Ryan and Andrew, both of you were talking about Blue and Green, some exposition on that. Did you have something to say you didn't? Because I wanted to hear it.
Well, it's just among many of the things that Miles did that was sort of contentious over the years. He'd like to take full writing credit for songs. Like I know he did that to Eddie Vinson for Tune Up. And 4. Those are both awesome charts, and Miles just said those are mine because they were on his album. And Blue and Green, which was clearly, especially when you listen to it, it is a Bill Evans tune. And there's plenty of writing out there about it. And Bill himself also said, yeah, of course I wrote it. I'm not making a big deal out of it. I guess at one point actually, and Andrew, I'm sure you've heard this story too. He did get mad at Miles and ask for, back pay on royalties. And Miles gave him a check for $25.
Ooh, I hadn't heard that.
Laugh in the face. Here's your check, man.
Yeah. And then Andrew,
take it, leave it.
Didn't he also haze him, Andrew, to get him in the?
Oh yeah. Do you guys have a time for a little story?
Yeah,
of course.
Please.
Right. Okay, so I told this to Ryan, but this is one of my favorite Miles Davis stories, and this is from his autobiography, which he's not always the most truthful, and he kind of contradicts things, but this is what Miles said. When Bill Evans first got with the band, he was so quiet, man. One day, just to see what he would do, I told him, Bill, you know what you have to do, don't you, to be in this band? He looked at me all puzzled and shit and shook his head and said, no, Miles, what do I have to do? I said, Bill, now you know we all brothers and shit and everybody's in this thing together. And so what I came up with for you is that you got to make it with everybody. You know what I mean? You got to fuck the band. Now, I was kidding, but Bill was real serious like Train. He thought about it for about 15 minutes and then came back and told me, Miles, I thought about what you said and I just can't do it. I just can't do that. I'd like to please everyone and make everyone happy here, but I just can't do that. I looked at him and smiled and said, my man. And then he knew I was teasing.
Dude, that feels so awkward for Bill Evans to have to deal with that conversation.
I mean, and Miles is getting crap at that point too for hiring a white piano player.
Yeah,
and
yeah. I mean,
Miles is like, I don't care.
Like,
as long as I'm making money. Like,
well, I saw something. I saw something in research where a lot of other black jazz musicians criticized Miles for including people like Bill Evans, and he was like, "Hey, man, I don't care what you look like as long as you play." You know, and that, I think that comes through with the kind of the groups that he put together over his career. So, results and ratings time. Ron, scale of 1 to 10, where are you?
Probably about a 6.
It's consistent. That's what you gave Frank Orange last week.
Frank
Ocean.
off.
Frank Ocean, not
You
Frank Orange, whatever.
Oh God!
I'm on number 2, so
I didn't even question it.
Oh, way to bring up like bad decisions. Fucking shit, Bert.
Okay, Andrew, put you on the spot. If a scale of 1 to 10 for this record, where would you put it?
I'll just say, first of all, y'all have some horrible ratings.
Oh wait, you got to save that. I have a spot for you later.
Okay,
go ahead.
Okay,
go ahead.
All right,
That's
all
a
right.
banger.
But I've been thinking about this for a while since Ryan asked me if the podcast, and it's like, guys, numbers don't matter.
That's right.
And it's like, if this is going to be the record that like it pushes jazz music and gets people into it, and whether young musicians or people who want to get it on, and it's a good thing. It's like, great. These are all really good musicians. These are good pieces. Okay. Nothing's perfect, but numbers don't matter. 10 out of 10. Sure. 10 out of 10. Why not?
Well, that you're more in line with us, Andrew. So I gave it a 9.5. Drew gave it a 9.5, and Ryan gave it an elusive 9. So our average was a 9.33, which put this at number 2 out of 100 albums on the poster. So this one was a banger. Now I'm looking at Ryan's face, and I have a feeling that he's going to change his score. But let's find out. Second chances.
Feeling deep inside. Oh yeah.
I've got a feeling deep inside. Oh yeah.
No, I actually feel like 9 is.
Yeah.
I put this one on for pleasure sometimes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I have no shortage of things I could put on.
Yeah.
But for me, like you, Bert, it mixes a love of jazz, a love of the performances, and nostalgia because of how early this album came into my life.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, as a trumpeter, for all those haters on Miles, I can sing every single one of his solos back to me.
Yeah.
Every note mattered.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So, and I can't say that about when I'm listening to Bop. I'd have to write it out to be able to sing it back to you because it's just flying around through all the chords. These are little melody gems. So 9, I think, is fair. I'm not going to push it to a 10. I see you looking at me, Bert.
No, hey, I gotta say, I'm kind of gobsmacked that you didn't lower it, because that's usually you're like, oh, I must have been having a good week that week. I'm gonna drop it to a 4. Drew, how about you? Would you change it? Are you good with the 9.5?
I'm reviewing my priors.
Well, I don't want to influence your decision, but I'm going to influence your decision. Did you know that keyboardist from Pink Floyd, Richard Wright, said that the chord progressions on this album influenced the structure of the introductory chords on the song Breathe?
Yeah, you know why that is? Can you guys hear my piano? Is it sounding today?
No.
Why can I never get this right?
But it's part of the fun, Drew.
I guess
it's a surprise.
It's the point Rick Wright was making was to me the sharp 9 chord that is so prevalent in this album, and it's just this moody, beautiful chord for a turnaround. It's a dominant feel, and he uses it in Breathe for a long time. I read that years ago when I was younger, and I couldn't figure out why in particular this album would have influenced him, because he wasn't that dynamic of a player, but I think it was literally that sharp 9, the use of the sharp 9 chord that educated him a little bit into that kind of a turnaround. But despite that, and because of it and for it, I'm going to move this to a 10 because it should be at a 10 with my 10s that are up there. My 10s are different than your guys' 10s, so
this whole conversation's getting intense.
Mm-hmm.
Intense.
The problem with me is,
Lord,
I go all in, and I'm like, well, then that's got to be a 10. You know, I try to differentiate. So my 10s need to be 10.1 through 10.9 is what I need to do.
No,
but that's greater than a 10.
Yeah, sorry, Drew.
We get it though. That's good. Good.
Oh, I see your point. That is
so.
good.
Who? I mean, I've got my copy here.
10 category though.
Ryan, you said you have it. Andrew, I assume you have it.
I've got 2 CDs of it.
Okay,
2 versions.
We do have it on CD.
I have it on CD and on record. Ron,
I own Miles Davis on CD, the 58 sessions something, but not this one.
Gotcha. Put it on your want list. Okay, so let's go. It is that time, guys. It's time for Margaritaville. If Miles Davis had a restaurant or chain of restaurants, a la Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville, what would it be called and what would the theme be? I'm looking at mine and now I'm like, oh my God. I've got 2. Ron has a couple. Okay, who wants to go first?
I know Andrew's got some too. I think we give him
Andrew. Well, you got the guest. You're the guest, so please.
I'll go with one,
okay.
and you guys might have this one too, but I think the obvious one for me was Kind of Blue, is the name of the restaurant, and it's a deli. It's a deli meat restaurant, okay, and so you get lots of deli sandwiches there. The thing is, they're from a couple of weeks ago. Okay, so all the meat's kind of blue.
I like it.
That's good. I like it. I like it.
I did not have that one, and I like it.
I didn't have that one either, so that's good. Yeah. Ryan, how about you?
All right. Well, I've got a. You guys remember Blimpie Subs?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, I have an imposter Blimpie Subs. It's called All Balloons. Okay, mixed results on that one.
Oh, like the blimp?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
That was a reach. That's okay.
All right.
I have a real authentic barbecue. I mean, we're talking the history of barbecue, which was not the best meat that you actually had to smoke and tenderize for hours and hours to make anything good out of it. It's called Soul Butt.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I saw one of Drew's nipples move on that one, so it was a little better.
They're out of the camera.
Not my second camera I set up in your house. Then I have a Creole restaurant, but it's like a Creole fusion. You get a little bit of that, Manhattan flair to it, and it's called Brew and Bean.
Roux and bean. Okay.
All right.
Roux.
Yes.
It's French.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Ron?
All these, by the way, Miles Davis would never allow.
No, he would actually allow it. He'd just take credit for it.
There we go.
All right. So you have a restaurant called So What, where you just order something and you won't get that, and when you go to bitch about it, they're like, so what? That's kind of an easy one. And then the other one I have is Blue and Green, and that is a salad restaurant that specializes in blue cheese salads.
Oh, I do like a blue cheese.
Nice.
You know, there was a restaurant here in town, super gourmet. It was called Justice Drugstore. And we went there and got a salad. It had Maytag blue cheese ice cream as the dressing, and it just slowly melted on the salad. It was an experience.
Really?
Oh,
I want to try that.
Yeah, unfortunately, they are no longer in business.
yeah. I feel like that's usually the outcome of most of your stories about
Yeah,
restaurants.
no shit. Yeah,
Well,
kind of like the bar and donut shop that was doing great until it wasn't.
Well, unfortunately, the Outback Steakhouse is still in business.
Ours
Bert, what you
burned.
got?
I've got two. The first is a restaurant that makes dishes featuring only the damson plum. Hint, it's blue.
Good. I like when we have to explain it before.
I have to because I never heard of this.
Yeah, I don't know my.
And the restaurant is called Rind of Blue.
Okay.
Oof.
That's my throwaway. My good one though is it's really hip Vietnamese noodle shop called Pho What.
Okay.
Oh, like
Nice.
that one.
I'd probably go there. Although some people say pho, so it'd be pho what?
For what?
Either works.
Well, mine was the same as Ron's. It was so what, except for a little more fleshed out. You know, you ask for something and they say so what, and they slap you, and then they whip out a trumpet and they go on their way down the aisle, and you get what you get. So it's the same thing. Me and Ron are on the same wavelength.
I love how Drew's reenactment there. He was hunched over, just like Miles Davis would have been. Okay. Closing thoughts, additional takes, shit we forgot, or the things that Andrew wants to get off of his chest.
Ooh, I have a hot take, but I really want to hear shit that Andrew needs to get off his chest.
Okay, cool. All right. So first off, that rating of Pet Sounds is an abomination to American art. Okay. Like that is one of the finest pieces of American art ever created, and it's number 34 on the list. You got not even the best Frank Sinatra album in the top 10. Okay. And you put Pet Sounds at 34. I'm afraid to hear what 33 through the rest of them are going to be. Like
Frank Ocean's Orange.
If you're serious that the Sinatra album's in the top 10, I think I see your problem.
Right. It's like number 8, right? And then,
But it's because of me that Pet Sounds is so low. So that's probably
That's right, Drew.
yeah. I'll own that.
And
Hey.
I invited you to do a very special mini episode to help sway you, and you blew me off. So
I did. Bert, what is it you say about opinions and tastes and matters of?
I said that one cannot argue when it comes to matters of taste.
Yeah, I mean, what do you want me to say about this?
Actually, it was my dad who said that.
we just want you to apologize.
Songs for Swingin' Lovers was number 18.
18. Okay. Top 20.
It's still
Yeah,
a
darn.
sin.
But still top 20. I mean, still beat Pet Sounds.
Still beats
Let
Pet
me
Sounds.
say this. This podcast and in particular, the one about Pet Sounds, brought me way up
Oh, yeah.
in my Beach Boys world, up to where I'm at. So you can only ask so much out of someone.
I
I'm
take
doing the
solace in the
best I
bracket.
Yeah.
And
And
Sounds win the bracket
Yeah.
too. So
And
I was overridden. I mean, that's where the comeuppance came around.
I will say, Andrew, too, I have started to tabulate the rescore as we're having the conversations. We're saying,
Good.
what's the
Good.
But unfortunately, I started with Dark Side of the Moon, so we didn't do that bit back with Pet Sounds. So I imagine it would be higher, though. I mean, kind of as you're kind of rescoring your original. But
Well, I don't know if this is going to give you any solace or not, Andrew, but my hot take is there is a strong comparison between the Beach Boys' Pet Sounds and this album, in that it's enjoyable for those who want to nerd out and go very in depth, but it's also very palatable just for a relaxing listen.
Yeah, they are both sneaky intelligent.
Good take, Ron.
Yeah. Two other things. Bert, what is the thing that you say right before the restaurants? Like what's your introduction to that?
When I say let's go to Margaritaville.
Okay, this is a me thing. It took me so long to get out of the habit of thinking, all right, yeah, next week they're going to talk about Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville.
Oh, so funny.
That would be on.
That's fantastic. I think that's a mini. We're gonna have to do something.
It took me like 25 or 30 episodes to be like, okay, no, this.
I
need to enunciate more clearly.
I will not make an appearance on that episode.
I won't either, Drew. I'll
actually, you know what we should do, guys? This is like a culminating mini episode. After we're done with the full 100, we do a 101st episode, an episode from Margaritaville in Florida.
Oh, I will miss that one.
Because Matt's been trying to get us to go there.
Ryan, we'll go to the Margaritaville in Kansas City.
Must we? Andrew,
we'll Zoom.
It sounded like
you must have a pre-mixed margarita.
You had a third beef, though.
Yeah. Now, this is one from an episode recently. And I thought about letting Ryan know that I was going to mention this. But and I thought that this was going to be the reason that Drew wasn't on today. So from the Let It Bleed episode, probably my favorite moment in the podcast, according to Ryan, Drew, quote, hates the blues and the people it came from.
Probably not Exile then, because that's like bluesy as hell. It's like,
yeah, it's real bluesy.
Well, you know I love blues. I just
you've been very forward on this podcast about how one, you hate the blues and you hate the people it came from.
Oh, jeez, man, I'm not gonna be able to walk that back without sounding like you're right. you put me into one of those positions. Dude.
So I thank you for being here today, Drew. I know this was a lot of work for you.
Yeah, man. I mean, Ryan really sells me out sometimes. You know, he's always done that to me.
Here's the great news. Andrew sticks because that's it. Like at the very, very end of the outtakes.
You do stick with us.
So you stuck with it. Kudos.
Yeah. That's a good point, Andrew, and I'm glad you brought that up because
such a hurtful statement to just lay out there.
And it doesn't take much for Drew to miss an episode. I mean, he could just he could have stepped in some dog poo and then realized that he had to go get coffee. He misses an episode.
Sometimes life is too much.
Oh, that's good.
How that hurts.
Oh my. Drew, anything on your end?
I didn't have a hot take, honestly. I'm not going to try to come up with something.
Okay. Let's take it home now, guys. And now, listeners, please go and listen to Kind of Blue by Miles Davis and let us know what you think. Hit us up with a voice message at speakpipe.com/100albums. You can email us at 100albums@bertislow.com. You can hit us up on Instagram and or Facebook at 100 Albums Podcast, or visit our website at 100albumspodcast.com. Join us next week. I didn't write it down. What's our album next week?
It should be Pearl Jam, I think.
Oh, it is. Yeah, Pearl Jam's 10. Join us next week when we'll be talking about Pearl Jam's album 10, which I'm sure it'll be a great conversation. Until then, Andrew, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciated having your voice
Andrew.
As part of the conversation.
Yeah, man. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, guys.
It's been a pleasure.
We'll see you all next week. Later, turkeys. Gobble, gobble, y'all. Okay, hey, it's a school night, so do we want to dive into this? I mean, I'm treating it less so because I'm working remotely tomorrow and I don't have any meetings, so I'm just like, hey.
I think you're going to be remotely working.
Yeah. So. Ryan, do you want to handle an introduction of Andrew here when we get to that part?
I think I'd probably be the one that would be most.
I mean, I kind of wanted to see Drew do it, frankly, but you know,
I could do it.
I'll throw it.
We met earlier this morning.
All right.
I have a question.
Ron's going to just dive right into it. Go ahead, Ron.
The Rage Cobs,
Oh yeah, you don't know?
I didn't. I think punk band, but I'm guessing not.
Well, we may talk about this one a little bit additionally off air, but it's pretty dumb. So
none of us have been part of any dumb projects ever,
but it's pretty dumb.
And I
was really hoping it was punk band.
No, I forced him into that one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Okay.
I just got to say as a quick note, I love how Ron is like, he's got his pen. I don't know if you guys noticed that as he's like talking. So he's like, he's ready to take notes. He's got his, he's a reporter for the Atlantic or something.
He's like,
and for this episode,
oh, I cut my tongue.
Oh, you got the staff out.
And I got the ruler in case we need to like really get into some nitty gritty.
I'm sure listeners will enjoy that.
Well, I mean, once Drew, Andrew, and I just go down the Lydian and Dorian rabbit holes.
Yeah, save it for the pod.
Oh, sorry. Cool, guys.
All right, fellas.
Hey, that was a lot of fun.
That was. It always is. It seldom isn't.
And
thanks again, Andrew. Appreciate it.
Thank you guys.
We'll be in touch. Like if we'd love to get you on another one. So we'll figure it out.
We'll see. But yeah. Like I said, listener from the beginning, love what you guys are doing, and yeah, it's just fun to look forward to the episode every week and just see what album it is, and like hear you guys sometimes talk about how
who's gonna make you
great,
angry.
and then it's like, oh man, that's a great record, 5 out of 10. I don't think I can find any bad on this record.
You're like, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, this is fantastic.
Yeah.
2 out of 3.